characters and telling the story.
My daughter Emma, who was only 4 months old at the time, had an interesting baby cry, almost a growl. And I recorded her and then slowed her way down and ran into the subwoofer, and she became the sound of the sea monster that eats the other beast at the end of the submarine sequence.
That's not how it goes.
The little staffs that the battle droids are riding, the sound for those is created from an electric razor moving over the surface of an overturned metal salad bowl.
Many of the shots in Theed, especially this one, were done as actual miniatures at 1/30th scale. So most of that was built and photographed in the back of ILM, including this shot here. And then establishing matte paintings were done of distant objects and buildings and horizons. And the tank and all the characters were added in the background later to these. The models were all built as modular buildings so we could rearrange them for different shots. So here we see the sub popping out, and the sub is a computer graphic in that shot. And all the water was real. That was photographed in the Bay Area here. And we had to match in all the motions and put in water reflections on the side. So here we see some motion captured.
These are motion captured droids. What we did was built a full-size version of the steps here at ILM and had one of the animators walk down the stairs in a motion capture suit. And we were able to capture their movement and then apply it to the droids.
And then what you'll see as we pan across here, there's an actual statue down there. This was mainly the cases where we ended up replacing that and changing what was down there. This particular scene, George wanted to change the timing of the people walking in, so we actually cut them out of another shot, put them in this, and slipped the sync.
There's very little set in these sequences. Mostly it's just a few people wandering around in little hallways here and on a surface that we created, but the rest of it's been added in.
I wanted a lightsaber that works, because that's the frustrating thing about this movie is, of course, nothing's really that real, so lightsaber doesn't go
I'd started working all this stuff out when we were doing episode 1. The fights are so long. In episode 1 they were long, and certainly in episode 3 they're even longer. They start to affect the fabric of the film or the storyline. So unless you do your homework and, even if it's wrong, but you sort out how you're going to make those characters fight or how they're going to fight, it kind of works. It follows the story, it keeps the pace of the film.
There are too many of them.
But what I had in mind for this, after watching the first Star Wars films, was that you would see that they had studied every single style, so that there weren't any loose shots at all in any one of the fights. There weren't any lightsabers into walls, there weren't any swings and misses.
My feelings tell me that it's true. Our only hope is for the Senate.
They're quite intense. It's interesting. I mean, I've done maybe 4 or 5 films where I've had to do quite serious sword fighting. So I have a kind of a grounding in it. But with these, and Nick Gillard, the stunt director, who's fabulous on fights, is getting us to... it's a fine line between using a saber and using something that's actually going to be created afterwards and digitally as regards that light and that kind of laser effect. You have to kind of cut and thrust, but yeah, it has to be done like with very, very gentle, kind of fast movements, but very kind of gentle at the same time. It's kind of hard to get that, without it being like grunting, groaning, because these guys are supposed to be very centered, and when they use their lightsabers, they're extensions of themselves, Kind of like I would imagine what samurai warriors were like with their samurai swords,
There were no stunt people running around, so both Ewan and Liam were pantomiming this lightsaber fight with nobody there.
Yeah, we ended up having to choreograph exactly where the dead droids would fall. Okay, we killed 3 over here, so we have to have those, and then it kills 2 over here, because we want to keep a continuity going on. The other problem we had to watch out for is where people walked in the sequences, because we want to make sure they didn't step on one of the droids, because that would give away the whole gag.
God, I
Came
can't.
up with a master layout, top view of every scene that he and I did together, where we had all the celestial droids, so we knew where all the bodies were as the sequence progressed, and creating that map really helped us out in figuring out how to lay out the shots.
The shot of R2 popping up and rolling down to the engine area is the only full-body computer-generated R2 in the movie. There are other shots where we've got a computer-generated head. For the most part, we tried to shoot R2 as a live element where we could. The large-scale close-up section of the ship, these little animated graphic screens just everywhere in this movie.
Always love the attention to detail you did there, John, with the little tiny R2 in the back of that ship as it slips by camera.
If you look very carefully, you can see R2 climbing back into that hole.
The first time I was here, I was amazed. Every area you went into, there seemed to be about 300 people working away, you know. And there have been a lot of people, I think, working away for a long time. So I was, first of all, taken with the scale of the thing. I couldn't imagine how big it was. And then the props room, I remember, because it's just all scans and staff, all the bits. It was incredible to see them all. And then I met R2-D2 for the first time, which was quite a moment. I was actually screaming out loud when I walked in there. There was about 50 guys working in this props room. I was actually screaming, wow, wow. But they looked at me as if they understood, so it was alright. It was a bit like meeting the Queen or something, you know. It was quite an honoured moment. Thank God there's no stormtroopers. I'd be out of control on the floor, just with excitement that they're there.
I'm the Sith Lord. His name's Darth Maul, and he's like the bad guy, the bad Sith Lord. And he uses all his negative energy to fight good or try and transfer good to evil. I think we all have a bit of a dark side in us, and so I just try and bring that out myself. So it's fun, really, you know, when I play the character.
Extremely well put together and it's without a doubt it saved the ship as well as our lives.
It is to be commended. What is its number?
R2-D2, guys.
Thank you, R2-D2. Padme. Clean this droid up as best you can. It deserves our gratitude.
There's always this challenge in scenes of introducing all the characters, have all the characters come together, especially when you got a movie like this that is constantly adding new characters in all the time. You spend a great deal of time with introductions and that sort of thing, but obviously this is an ensemble piece that goes on for quite a while. So the main job of the first episode really is to introduce characters.
Sorry. Who's that on your side?
Padme.
Lisa Jar Jar Binks.
You're good, Gennady.
A film like this is a tremendous job for the dialogue editors, because not only is there an enormous amount of replaced dialogue which they have to record and synchronize into the actors' mouths, there's so many characters that need new voices altogether. The battle droids, the Neimoidians, many other aliens that they meet. And it's kind of taken for granted in the end that the dialogue is just a natural thing, which probably occurred on the set under the microphone, but it's hardly the case in a Star Wars film.
The Queen's people are romantics. They take pleasure in high art. And so all their furniture, their vehicles, their costuming, whatever, reflect that. it really pushed the envelope for us. I mean, we were designing spaceships with these really elegant tails that really served no function,